What is up, everyone? My name is Brightlife. This is my fancy shirt, and today I want to talk to you about something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, which is there going to be a Lord of the Rings Online graphical update coming in 2022? It's been long rumored, there's been lots of speculation about it, I've gotten some comments about it, and so I decided to do a deep dive on the internet so that you did not have to, and we're going to answer the question, is it coming in 2022, and what should we expect if it does? So hey, let's jump into it. Hey, before we get started into this deep dive, I just want to say thank you so much to all of the new subscribers that we have. Lord of the Rings Online actually posted one of my videos to their Twitter account, which was amazing. It was very, very kind, and their Facebook page, and we just got a ton of new subscribers, 106 in like a 24-hour period, which is huge for a channel that only now has 415 subscribers. So thank you so much. Be sure to leave a like if you want more content like this. Leave those comments. I read every single one of those. And if you've not subscribed yet and you want more content, that's the best way for me to monetize this channel and really make it sustainable. So please go on ahead and drop a subscription if you haven't yet, but let's jump into it. Okay, so there are three things that I have been thinking about for a while that the Lord of the Rings Online really needs in order to thrive as it moves through the rest of this decade and past its 15th anniversary. The first is a server-side update. This game really does need a server-side update. There are some people that don't experience lag too bad, but from what I've heard from a lot of my European viewers, the lag in this game is really terrible, and it's just because the engine is so old and the engine needs an update. Now, of course, that's a process that takes a lot of time. That's a lot of effort to put into a brand new engine, and to upgrade server spaces costs a lot of money. And so you can see how it's a big hill to climb. The second thing that it needs, of course, is a little bit of a graphical update overhaul. Now, this game is gorgeous, and I really enjoy it. I get immersed into it every time that I play, but there are a couple things, including maybe some character models, maybe some mob models, maybe some of the environmental aspects that could be updated for 2022, and it would still look really good even as a 15-year-old game. And the last thing I've thought is if Lord of the Rings Online really wants to thrive in this space, I really think they need a console release. They need something on console, and of course all of these thoughts come from an article that came out 2 years ago from GameSpot that we'll go ahead and read through right now. So 2 years ago, GameSpot releases an article that says Lord of the Rings Online is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X, it seems, and in addition to bringing the game to next gen, it appears visual and technical enhancements are also coming. Now, what this article comes from is an investor showcase of ENAG Global 7's conference of games, and they include things like Standing Stone Games, they own Daybreak Games, and so they're doing this wide showcase to their investors of what is coming up. And so now if we take a look at the slide in question, here's what it says. Now, in Q4 of 2021, DC Universe Online was going to get modernized visuals, upgraded key game systems, and that add new large content update to capitalize on the next-gen console's growth. But in 2022, Lord of the Rings Online was planning on getting visual and technical updates for LOTRO for PC and next-gen consoles to capitalize on Amazon's highly publicized large investment in the Lord of the Rings TV series. And then, of course, another project that was upcoming that we did find out later was the now canceled Marvel MMO RPG. Now, what we can see from this slide is a couple of things as we get on our investigator hats. First of all, the first thing that's coming in the Standing Stone Daybreak Games arena is a DC Universe Online upgrade to visuals. Now, that has not come yet, and they are planning to bring those to newer consoles. Again, that has not come yet. There have been no native launches, but what we can see from the 2022 plan here was that Lord of the Rings Online was planning to get those exact three things that I talked about. There's some technical upgrades, which I'm assuming is server upgrades, maybe some game engine upgrades. They were planning on getting visual overhauls and next-gen console support, which is all great stuff. Now, of course, this was from December of 2020, and now we're sitting in June of 2022, and that has not happened yet. So is it coming? Is it not coming? Well, let's dive a little bit deeper into our investigation online about, is this actually happening? Well, the best place to go is actually to that DCUO announcement of they are getting the updated graphics first, because of the two, of DCUO and Lord of the Rings Online, this one was the only one with a really confirmed date, Q4 of 2021. Now, what's happened is that it's passed and it's not happened yet, and there hasn't been a date announcement yet for Lord of the Rings Online, and I'll get to that in just a moment on why I think that is. Let's go to PCGamesN.com and check this article out, and this article says this: The DC Universe Online MMO's next-gen update may have been delayed until 2023. And the reason for this is because there was a big Q3 of 2021 investor presentation that came out, and this one actually may shift the landscape a little bit. Now, there's a lot of minutia on this page. Let's walk through it really quickly. First of all, in 2022, there was expected to be 2 additional games that came out, but let's look at that medium-term column there on the right side of your screen. The Lord of the Rings Online is now at the top of the list. DCUO is second in the list, and you can see why Lord of the Rings Online for an investor meeting is there at the top. It's perennially ranked as one of the top 10 MMOs, which is true. It's the biggest and truest simulation of Tolkien's Middle-earth world online. And along with Amazon's new streaming series, based on the Lord of the Rings IP, Daybreak is investing a major revamp to upgrade the visuals, modernize the experience, which I think means better servers, and release on consoles. Now again, they reiterated that same 3 things, but again with that caveat that's very important. It's all around that Rings of Power release. They were trying to time those 2 things simultaneously. Well, what about DCUO? Well, if we look back to our page, we can see that they tout its history and all that stuff, but the investment in graphics upgrade and the largest expansion content to date for 2023. So that original 2021 date has now been pushed back for DCUO to 2023, whereas Lord of the Rings Online didn't get a date, but kind of has that ephemeral date around this Amazon MMO RPG. And we're gonna get into why I really think that that's important here in just a moment, but there's something else that happened that's really important. Now I wanna get into why I think that it's important that they keep on linking this to Rings of Power that Amazon is producing in just a moment, but I do wanna just point out how important this slide is. A lot of people online have said that these are just hearsay, these are just rumors, and I actually think that those people don't do this idea justice. This is not some sort of press release where people come out and say, hey, this is what we're planning on doing. This is Daybreak's parent company's investor meeting. These are the people that actually fund the company and keep it alive. Without investors, you don't have a company. And if you promise to do something to investors over and over again and you constantly move things, cancel things, that actually can sometimes be called defrauding the investors, which is a huge crime all around the world. So this is legit. They are planning on doing this. Now, is this going to come this year? Is this going to be in 2024? Really, that's the speculation that we have to make now, but this is coming because this is not something that they're just putting out for us. These are for the people with the big bucks that really fund these projects. Now, I want to go back to the 2021 investor portfolio here in the presentation, and I want to talk about that unannounced MMO RPG because this is very important. This is news that just came out this week because you can see the unannounced project that they had in their previous investor presentation. Well, it's actually been named. It is a Marvel IP-based, massively multiplayer online game being developed by Dimensional Ink Studios in Austin, Texas. Now, we found out this last week from GameSpot, and I'll link the article below, that MMO has actually been canceled by Daybreak Games and their parent company. Here's what this one says. It says that the company behind the game planned to spend $50 million on the game over the next 3 years. Here's where it gets really interesting for us. Resources spent on developing the Marvel MMO will be reallocated within EG7 to focus on alternative long-term projects. EG7 also revealed that it had planned to invest at least $50.6 million into the Marvel MMO, and that the company will now diversify this investment across multiple smaller-sized projects within the group. Now, what that means is that if we go back to our 2021 investment, what do you see there? That there's all these games, and there's only one that really stands out above all the rest of them in popularity, and that's Lord of the Rings Online. If I were a betting man, and now this is where we take off our detective hat and put on our speculation hat a little bit, I think that EG3 is going to be spending a bulk of the money that they would have spent on the Marvel project on Lord of the Rings Online. And here's why. Lord of the Rings Online, since its 15th anniversary, has seen a massive, almost 70% spike in regular player population in their game. There is a brand new series that Amazon is putting out around the Rings of Power, and this is what's really important, I think, when we really think of the broader scope. Initially, EG7 announces that they're going to do this massive graphical overhaul back in 2020. Well, then what comes out after that? It turns out that Amazon and Tencent are actually working on an MMO RPG together around the Lord of the Rings franchise. Now, I don't care who you are, if Amazon and Tencent, 2 of the largest gaming companies and just companies in general in the world, decide to take a bite out of the Lord of the Rings franchise MMORPG, Lord of the Rings Online is going down. There's no one going back to a 15-year-old game when you could be playing a polished, awesome game, at least to start. Now, What happened was, of course, that project got scrapped and canceled by Amazon. And so now I think that EG3, Daybreak Studios, and Standing Stone Games are probably looking at this as the perfect opportunity to upgrade the graphics system. And this is where, again, we kind of go conspiracy theory, we go a little bit into the speculation, but I think that this is where I land in this space. I believe that right around the time of the Lord of the Rings series, Rings of Power, I believe that Lord of the Rings Online is going to get a major console release, and they're going to get a major graphics overhaul and server-side update. Now, again, I said all the reasons I thought before. It's because that show is coming out, they're going to capitalize on that marketing, and because now there's no competition in the way for an MMO in the Lord of the Rings space. Plus, they have a lot of good popularity running into the show. This is almost too perfect for them right now, and all of their other IPs that they have not really taken off. This is the one that they can invest in, and it's the one that has a really active and really fun player base right now, really dedicated to the game. Now, of course, you're gonna ask me, Bright Life, why then has this not yet been announced? I mean, if this is the thing that they're doing, this is a huge deal, why hasn't it been announced? Well, I've worked in marketing quite a bit in real life, and what I can tell you is you never wanna market too early. Because what happens is you put out this big announcement and then people are like, oh, that's exciting, and then it just kind of dies down. And it just becomes a part of the regular milieu of things. What you would rather do is you'd rather link yourself to a huge project like Rings of Power and say, hey, alongside that, this is coming out soon. Let that hype be something that actually builds your game, as opposed to just like, oh, that's cool that that's coming later, but really at the end of the day, like, we've got other things to play. Wrath of the Lich King is coming out in classic mode soon. We've got Dragonflight coming out later on. I mean, it's a big release window in time right now. But here's when I think it will happen. This is my bet. Again, I could be totally wrong about this. You can call me wrong in the comments if you watch this a couple months later and it doesn't happen. But I think that we are going to get a late July or early August announcement of all this stuff happening, because Rings of Power releases early September 5th. And I believe that that's going to be the time when we actually see this big announcement of this overhaul release. It's going to be a huge press thing. There's going to be tons of marketing and advertising around it. It's going to be coming to console to compete with Final Fantasy as the only real big MMORPG on console, I think. Don't crucify me if I'm wrong on that one. But I think that that's going to be the time when they're going to announce this. They're going to allow the hype to be excited. People can look forward to it for a month and a half as the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power series comes out. Now, again, I could be wrong, but there's resources now, there's a great time window opportunity, and there's really good experience and excitement around the game right now. So my speculation is, yes, we are going to get a graphical overhaul. We are going to get a systems update alongside server developments, and I think we are going to get a console release for LOTRO as well. But again, that's just my speculation. I just think that they're waiting to announce it until the Rings of Power gets closer so that they can coincide with that release. But again, I could be wrong. This is one of those things where it's really fun to speculate. It's fun to kind of dive deep into the internet and see what's out there. But what do you think? I would really love to hear your thoughts. Do you think I'm completely wrong? Am I smoking the copium and just going, it's gonna get better? Or is there something real here? Could there be a graphical overhaul coming right around the Rings of Power release? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I really do read all of those. I'd love to interact with you in those. And as always, if you like content like this, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button. I hate when people say that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for me. It really does mean the world to me when you do that. But again, please leave me those thoughts below. But as always, friends, as we sign off, you are more loved than you know, and you are so much more valuable than you realize. I hope you have an incredible day, and I will see you next time. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave it a like. It's totally free to do. Subscribe if you want to see more. And as always, I'm live on Twitch over at twitch.tv/BrightLifeCommunity. We're a community of positive and uplifting gamers. Come find a friend to raid with, grab loot with, and just enjoy life together with. Hope you have an awesome day. Be blessed, and you are so loved and so valuable.